She is both crushing it and realizing that hey, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Congratulations, you gotta, he's like, you gotta come out and talk. You're fine. Because I have road rage. Around all the time last week. So we just did on the tie together. Here we'll grab some lunch or whatever. Okay. Well, I didn't know. Who was it? Whatever you need, well, sounds like they got it early. And so, I think she is starting to it's entirely different. It's entirely different. But the thing is, in governance is universal, right? Like good governance is good governance. And so it doesn't matter. And so she's been very stabilized for some crazy times. They just moved to Virginia 6 weeks ago, and they know everything better. We were rolling out for me. Y'all don't know how to govern that. That's telling you how to do it. Like we need to so that's the whole thing. It's a challenge. And yeah, I think what you are is she's just moved to a different sure. Mission is very hey, we want to put out a new park. So,
Good, good. Okay. We are getting ready to start. Yep. Okay. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Welcome to the Town of Orange Park Town Council meeting Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025 at 7 p.m. And Town Clerk, please take a roll call.
Vice Mayor Sandlin.
Present.
Mayor Anderson.
Here.
Councilman Benefield.
Here.
Councilman Vogel.
Present.
Councilman Taylor.
Present. Thank you, Town Clerk. Okay, we're going to move on to item 2, invocation and pledge of allegiance, and that will be led by Councilman Vogel. Please stand.
Dear Lord, we come before you this evening, and we just give you thanks for this wonderful evening. We give you thanks for another opportunity to celebrate friends and family and colleagues. let us remember throughout the evening and throughout the course of this holiday season that we are neighbors, and we can agree and we can disagree, but at the end of the day, we are here for one another. I wish that you come before us and we keep us safe, guide us. All those who may be traveling this holiday season, in your name we pray, amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on to item 3. That's mayor comments. First of all, I'd like to welcome and introduce our new town manager, Joseph Taylor. Joe? You know, the town of Orange Park is a very small little town. It's about 3.5 miles. And we've got a few businesses, but it's so important that we spend our money locally. We need to keep our businesses open within our town, and if you cannot spend your money locally, take your money to Clay County. Just keep it within our boundaries. Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to move on to item 4, presentations, and I've got a swearing in of a couple firefighters. Chief?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. We have supposed to be 2 firefighters, but last time we were here, Josiah Decker was unable to attend. So if it's okay, I was going to go ahead and just kind of squeeze him in on this one. So, well, first one up, we'll call Joseph Cochran. Joseph's been with us now for just slightly over a year. He has passed his probationary period. We're going to kind of have his family come up, bid the penny, and then we'll do the swearing in all together at one time. So, you want to call him? Okay. You ready to understand the back? So, slip. Okay. Next firefighter up is going to be J.P. Villanueva. I believe he wants Big John to come over here and film him. So, all right, I just found out that firefighter Decker is on emergency call, so we'll try for strike 3 next time. So, y'all two want to come on over here and get the deputy chief? There it is. Raise your right hand, place your hand in the Bible. Right hand up. Good.
I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Florida, and the Charter of the Town of Orange Park. I swear that as a member of the Orange Park Fire Department, my fundamental duty is to serve the people I swear to protect. To safeguard and preserve life, health, and property against fire and other perils, and to maintain proficiency in the fire service. I recognize the badge of my office as a symbol of public faith and trust, and I accept so long as I am true to the ethics of the fire service, and make these promises so solemnly, freely, and upon my honor.
Congratulations.
Okay, now we're going to recognize a couple police officers, and if we could have Chief Case.
Good evening, everybody in council. I'd like to invite Corporal Shelby Martin to come up here, please. So Corporal Martin had a career path that she wanted to follow here at Orange Park Police Department, becoming a drug recognition expert. And there are only 3 of them in Cook County, including her. Pretty strenuous program. It's a little challenging to get through, but she did a great job. She made it. She's already done her first actual drug recognition exam on somebody. And we have the award ceremony over here. You can wear any uniform. I guess you'll sit through one of the shiny ones. Congratulations.
The next thing I want to do is have Sergeant Arvid Nelson come up here. I'd like to recognize him for an event that occurred a few months back, but I still want to recognize him. So Sergeant Nelson's on day shift, and he's driving down the road on Kingsley, and he happens to see a car go across the roadway and crash. And he stops to check on the driver. And at the time, we learned that the driver was out, and Sergeant Nelson was able to perform CPR and was able to keep that person going until rescue and hospital staff could get to him. So we have a life-saving award we're presenting to Sergeant Nelson. He's the only officer of the department that's got 2 of these awards, so he's been in the right spot at the right time in the right place twice now. Congratulations, Vicky. We've got a body camera video we'd like to show, and then I'd like to have the person's life that he saved come up here too.
On September 29th, 2025, Sergeant Arvid Nelson witnessed a pickup truck crash on Kingsley Avenue after crossing the median into oncoming traffic. Acting immediately, he secured the scene, called for fire rescue, and broke a window to reach the unresponsive driver. With help from Officer Nicholas Bovin, he pulled the man to safety and began CPR until Orange Park Fire Department arrived. The driver later regained a pulse and survived. Both Orange Park Fire Department and HCA Orange Park staff credited Sergeant Nelson's quick, decisive actions with playing a large role in saving the driver's life. The following video contains body-worn camera footage. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey, you okay? You got a call for me? Looks like you stopped again. Just pull him out. Good day. How you doing? Hey.
That's okay, go ahead and patch it.
Got it? Breathe. Come, Susan.
That might just be here.
Look your way, give me a towel. Yeah. Here's some money.
No wall on that stuff, it's not passing.
Right step.
While saving this man's life was truly a team effort, Sergeant Nelson's swift and decisive actions were instrumental in the outcome. Today, we are proud to recognize him with his second life-saving award, a distinction no other currently serving OPPD officer has ever achieved. Congratulations, Sergeant Nelson. Your leadership, courage, and commitment continue to set the standard for others to follow.
So, a few weeks ago, I'm in a restaurant eating, and I look over and I see Al Barker, who was our previous fire chief here, if you all recall Al. And he had on a T-shirt that said something along the lines of like, "And I'm back." And so we were talking, and I said, you know, wouldn't it be wild if you taught him CPR? And he goes, "We did. Me and Frisbee and another fireman did." So that circle came around. And although, you know, Al's been gone a little while, I'd like to invite him up here with Sergeant Nelson, too.
I can't say anything more than what's been said, but I truly think. One thing that was saying that I like to make is because even though I was there, saw what happened, Captain Coon and Sam McCoy. Captain Coon and his squad that showed up that day did an outstanding, they're all over our like game from a banana. They did a good job of continuing what needs to be done. I don't want them to go without the appreciation because they did a very good job.
All of our officers do outstanding jobs. I just really appreciate the time to recognize when they really go above and beyond and make a difference here. And I think both the officers tonight have. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on to item 4D, Complete Streets Program for Blake Avenue, CMT.
Mr. Mayor, Council, Kyle Croce, Public Works Director. I just wanted to introduce Matt and Tom from CMT. This is a project we started a little while back. We started it as a complete street study for an all-encompassing project on mobility, you know, to include the sidewalks and pedestrian and bicyclist needs, as well as reconstruction of the streets and the utilities infrastructure underneath. So at this time, I'll turn it over to Matt.
All right, thank you, Kyle. Good afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tough act to follow after that one. I'm just so proud to work in a community with such heroes we have. So without further ado, Blake Avenue improvements. If you recall, I was here a few months ago talking about the Smith Street corridor, and today I want to talk about Blake Avenue. A little bit of background on this one first. Some project goals and scope. Number one is replacing the aging water main. I know Kyle and his team are out there probably almost every week or every other week working on that. There's a lot of need on that, and so that is a priority of working on that piece of infrastructure. And with that, we want to make sure we're taking the opportunity to look at anything we can do to rehabilitate the infrastructure around it when we're out there. So rehabilitating the roadway surface, pavement infrastructure, and as Kyle mentioned, looking at other opportunities to increase mobility, safety, quality of life in our community. This project did include a stakeholder and public involvement phase, which I'll get to here in just a little bit. And then ultimately our goal was to look at different alternatives to make improvements to the street and prioritize a final recommendation, which is what brings us here today, to kind of talk about what we're recommending to bring forward into future design. This slide is similar to what I shared previously, but a quick synopsis of the complete streets analysis. So kind of three key tenets. Number one, prioritize safety of all users. And with that, accommodate multimodal access. Pedestrians and bicyclists are our most vulnerable roadway users, and so we want to make sure that we're accommodating them for a critical safety need in addition to vehicles. And we're also looking at the livability and quality of life in our communities. What can we do not only improving safety, but also making access more efficient, and also looking at aesthetic features as well. This corridor, Blake Avenue, spans from Plainfield to River Road, jumping across Park Avenue. And it's a suburban commercial context classification and urban general by FDOT standards. So everything we did with this study follows FDOT's guidance. A couple things we look at as we're evaluating this and how we look at framing this up in our recommendations, just to give you some context here. We look at three different things: geometrics, driver feedback, what we get from crash reports, what we get from talking to the stakeholders and the public that attend the meeting. And then we look at soft infrastructure. How can we go out and add soft enhancements that really provide a vibrant corridor, but also add additional safety features? And again, ultimately, it's making sure that we put the right street in the right place for our community. So talking about public engagement, on this corridor, we had several different property owners we met with. Two I want to highlight: Precision Dermatology, the doctor's office that's there on the southeast corner of Blake and Park, as well as the apartment complex that is just adjacent to the east there. We met with them because of the history of the parking challenges that are right in that area. And we wanted to understand, if there's any improvements, can we facilitate improvements that benefit these two properties, that improve the corridor, make it safer, make it more reliable, and just overall better for the neighborhood. So we had great feedback from those two property owners that ultimately was included in our final alternative. Public meeting was held on May 28th, and I believe many of you all were there. We brought two concepts to that meeting for discussion. We had a lot of great feedback from the local residents, from property owners, from business owners in the surrounding area. We had 20 that signed in, and then we're estimating about 30 attendees actually attended that meeting. Out of that, we had 15 written comments that were received, which is pretty good for a project of this size, and of course numerous verbal comments that we took back to heart, took back to the drawing board, and looked at how we could improve our concepts as we carry forward. I want to highlight a couple of the key feedback themes that we received. Number one, there was a concern for the increase in the bicycle and pedestrian volumes that may occur with adding new sidewalk facilities that aren't currently there between Park and River Road. So we heard a lot of concern from that from residents. And in fact, many of them were actually recommending that we omit the sidewalk as part of that. However, that doesn't maybe necessarily align with some of the goals that we have to increase mobility. Concern for traffic control and parking management. There's some history here with the parking challenges, and we heard that loud and clear. We saw that also in the crash reports that we reviewed, and I'll get into in a minute. And then landscaping and maintenance, there's some concern if we go through and do these improvements, what is that going to do to the yards in front of these houses? What is that going to do to the landscaping or sprinkler heads, and how would we mitigate that overall? All these comments were compiled into a final report that are included in the final concept report, and also evaluated as we move forward to the final recommendation from this meeting. I do want to highlight some safety considerations. This is a huge part of the Complete Street Study, is evaluating safety, making sure that we are bringing a safe alternative and improving any conditions that we can. So we look at a couple different things. We look at traffic volumes. We went out and did pedestrian and traffic counts. We looked at crash reports, and we pulled crash reports from the police department here, from all the way from Plainfield to River Road. Now, this corridor does intersect Park Avenue, and that is FDOT's jurisdiction. We did omit that piece of it, and really just focused on the corridor highlights. 4 total crashes in those 3 years, so that's a little over 1 crash a year, which is pretty substantial if you think about it for this type of corridor. One of those being serious injury and 3 property damage. Just to highlight some of those, one of those was failure to yield, and that was with a pedestrian. That was a serious injury, and then the others were driver error from maybe not parking in a parking spot, overhanging into the road, opening the door maybe when they weren't supposed to, or there was one that was actually running off the road into a parked vehicle. So we take a look at this. We look at the existing condition of on-street. Currently, there is on-street pedestrian, bike, and vehicles because there are no sidewalk facilities on the east side of the corridor. The west side, there are sidewalk facilities that exist. Several parking involved crashes, like I mentioned. There's also, a desire and access to the River Road pathway that runs along the river. So you're seeing residents and locals maybe walk down the street rather than on the sidewalk. That's a safety challenge. And then obviously the intersection safety of Park Avenue, which we know this corridor, there are a lot of safety challenges here. And so that's a component as well that we look at, especially as it pertains to left turns. So as we look at the recommended alternative, so this is a hybrid version of Concept A that was taken to the public meeting. And I'm going to highlight the kind of the left side of the corridor, the west end, and the far east end, and then I'll get to the middle part here. So item number 1 on the west side of the corridor from Plainfield to Park Avenue, generally we're recommending just the rehabilitation of that pavement. It's generally in good shape, repairing curb that's damaged, repairing sidewalk that's being uprooted, and replacing some driveway aprons for ADA compliance. So very straightforward there with some traffic calming aspects as well. That's we heard a lot of encouragement from the residents in that. On the very eastern side, we want to make sure if we're adding sidewalk facilities, we're adding a safe connection over to the River Road pathway, as that's where a lot of people are probably going or coming from. And so we're looking at adding hybrid beacons for that mid-block crosswalk that would occur just to the south side of the Blake Avenue intersection. To get into the nuts and bolts of this, the east half of the corridor is really where a lot of this study was focused. That's where a lot of the safety challenges have occurred, the parking challenges, and the lack of sidewalk facilities present. So what's recommended in this alternative, and I know this is a little bit hard to see, so I'm going to walk you through it. This is a change in traffic operations on this portion of the street that's being recommended. So this is recommending an eastbound one-way street between Park Avenue and Orange Circle. And so what that allows us to do, we have a lot that we're trying to accomplish in a pretty tight right-of-way corridor. So when we look at the safety, we're able to funnel cars one way through this intersection that eliminates the left outs that we see a lot of the crashes occurring at Park Avenue intersections. Allows us to fit a sidewalk within the right-of-way, not encroaching any further on other properties, not needing to be back into front yards as much. Also allows us to address some of the parking challenges. We're able to put some of those on-street cars back in behind a curb line a little bit, protecting them a little bit more, and opening up kind of a wider street opportunity. Additionally, we're able to retain all the parking on the south side for the apartment complex. That was a huge priority for that property owner. What we see right now is that there's a lot of vehicles that are double parking, that overhang into the right-of-way and into the road, also contributing to a sight distance safety issue there. By doing this, we're able to actually allow for double parking cars to occur as well as a 5-foot striped-off buffer that's a no parking zone. We're able to improve sight distance and maintain fluid access throughout this corridor. So it'll be one-way eastbound up to Orange Circle, and then it is a two-way road from there. So we would sign the east side for westbound traffic of no trucks, no outlet. Orange Circle for the few cars that may be coming through all the way and maybe made a wrong turn, that the cul-de-sac that is there will serve as that natural turnaround. We do believe that there's not going to be a huge volume of those turnarounds. The street doesn't see a lot of, back and forth traffic. A lot are going north and south to the signals to get to Park Avenue. So we feel like this improvement is acceptable on the volume of traffic that we have in this corridor. I actually think that it might reduce the volume of traffic and improve the quality of life there for residents and the number of vehicles on their street. The cross-section of the bottom there is kind of just a visual depiction of kind of how that would look like in that one-way section, that we're able to fit kind of a lot within that right-of-way. The dimension line is really the right-of-way space that we have to work with without going and getting more easements to construct this. I guess I should add, in addition to this sidewalk feature, one of the goals of the mobility plan is to install sidewalk on both sides of the street. We recognize that it's a challenge here with the space we have, with the number of old mature trees that are there, brick mailboxes, and so what we are ultimately recommending is let's at least provide a facility that's not there now. That's an improvement over the existing condition. And so we'll take that on the north side, and then we'll cross just around Orange Circle to the south side so we can avoid a lot of impacts to those trees and mailboxes. That'll also serve as a traffic calming speed table in that area, which kind of adds visibility for pedestrians. When we get to the costs side of this, so we did a conceptual cost analysis at this stage. Construction comes to just under $900,000 for the roadway improvements. The total program cost all in with engineering, there's a few temporary easements that are necessary, and then any utility relocation costs that may be necessary with this, comes to just over $1.13 million for the roadway. I do want to acknowledge that the water main costs are not included in this. This study was focused on the roadway aspects only, and we're working on evaluating the costs for the water main currently. Another aspect of this is the aesthetic treatment. That's kind of the last, bow to tie on it with the Complete Street study, is looking how can we improve the context of our environment around us. So looking at some different color contrasting features that not only adds aesthetic features, but safety features by contrasting pavement and different colors throughout the natural environment. So what's next? So we've culminated all this into a report that was completed late this summer, and that's what we're bringing to you and presented today, wanting to get consensus on this plan as we look to move forward into design in early 2026. And then that basically creates a timeline that we can finalize the engineering, acquire any necessary easements and utility relocations next summer, in time potentially for a construction next fiscal year as funding permits. So with that, that's kind of my recap on the Blake Avenue corridor, and I'll open it up to any questions that you have for Kyle and myself.
Council, any questions? I've got a quick one. When you had the meeting with our town residents, you had option A and option B, but you're only showing us one option.
Yes, sir. So what I'm showing you is the final option that we're recommending to carry forward into design. The two options we presented at the meeting were a hybrid of this option that I have, the one-way. We added some additional safety features. We added an additional sidewalk connection back to the apartment complex. Some just kind of small pieces that weren't shown in the public meeting. The option 2 was maintaining the two-way traffic throughout. But it resulted in that sidewalk being pushed a lot further into properties, impacting properties, did not deal with the safety and parking challenges as well as the final concept we're recommending.
Okay, by going with this option, are we saving money Because you're saying you're not pushing the sidewalk back into properties.
Correct.
Are we saving money by not doing that?
Yes, you would save money by not acquiring the easements. It's also less roadway you'd be rehabilitating for a short stretch of the road.
Okay, got it. Thank you. No one? Do you have something? Go ahead, John.
A couple questions. I'd like to see that cost comparison of those two items that you just described.
Okay. I don't have that with me, but we can route that through Kyle to get that.
Yeah, that would be great. And then, this is saying a report, but I don't have anything in my packet. Is there a report that maybe I just didn't get a copy of?
We do have a report, and we'll make sure that gets over to you. Apologies, that didn't get into the packet.
And what was the cost of this study?
So this,
Ballpark?
Ballpark, so I'll say this phase of it, it's part of an overall full design package. I believe this phase was somewhere around $30,000 to $40,000
And how about the total cost?
of the design and everything.
Ballpark?
Ballpark, probably in the, just north of 100 grand.
All right, thank you.
Okay, anybody else?
I do have a question. When we talked about saving money, you talked about fewer easements, but there are some easements we're going to have to obtain, is that correct? To put sidewalks down on the two-way portion of Blake if we go with this option?
Not necessarily permanent easements, but temporary easements where we're just
Okay.
right on the edge of the right of way and we need to get in there to be able to construct that.
Okay.
But we're not looking at permanent easements for that.
Thank you for that clarification.
Councilman Logan?
I know that we had a meeting where we had public input and all that stuff. Did we, after this design that you guys created about shutting it down to really one way to Orange Circle, did we talk to the residents in Orange Circle and said, hey, we're going to make your roundabout circle the turning point for that whole road? Have we spoken to any of those residents?
We have not gone back since the public meeting and spoken to them. That same concept of the traffic operation, the one-way was presented in the public meeting. So they did have an opportunity to provide input. I will be honest and say there was a couple that had concern about more cars coming into that circle. But I do believe that after that improvement is made, there's kind of a learning period of the new pattern, and believe that would die down shortly after initial improvements were made. You may have the occasional that come through that don't notice it, but the mass majority of people would not be using that as a cut through once that road is completed.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the cars. I'm worried about you will have occasional garbage. You will have Amazon. You will have trailers. You will have, it's just doing 180s in that cul-de-sac. So, just curious. That's it.
Got it. Anyone else? Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on to item 5, audience comments on non-agenda items. You have 3 minutes per standing rule. And Cindy Cheapwood.
I wanted to repeat my invitation to the council to attend our Sunday Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day at Magnolia Cemetery. You know, all history starts as local history, and history is memory. We're in a unique position this year as one of the only Pearl Harbor Remembrance ceremonies in the state. And consequently, we have the director of the American Legion for Florida in attendance at this. So this is our chance to shine. We have participation from the active duty NAS Jax Navy personnel, and the family will be in attendance. So we expect there to be a good number, and it would be nice to have town participation, obvious for all of those factors, for the military to see, for the American Legion to see, and all of those who have supported our veterans activities, which have gone on for many years now through the Historical Society. Thank you.
Got it. Thank you, Cindy.
It's 2 o'clock.
Okay, Brandon Dark.
Good evening, Mayor Anderson, council members, and residents of Orange Park. My name is Brandon Dark, President of Orange Park Association of Firefighters, Local 2668. Tonight I'm not here to talk about simple disagreements at the bargaining table. I'm here because this town has crossed a line from mismanagement and clear violations of Florida State Statute, Chapter 447, and every firefighter and every resident deserves to know it. For 426 days, the men and women who protect this community have gone without a contract. In that time, we've negotiated with 3 different bargaining teams chosen by the town, and despite all this dysfunction, we reached a tentative agreement in June, an agreement made by your own lead bargaining agent, interim town manager, William Whitson, and subsequently acknowledged the existence of a public agreement on the record the following month at the July 9th bargaining meeting. That agreement included a 24/72 schedule with a defined start date, a hiring plan, contingency provisions, and multiple economic concessions from the union. Yet now, after months of delays and shifting excuses, needing 5-year plans, 10-year plans, more information, now we're being told there was never a tentative agreement at all. Despite the many correspondences between the union and the town, we believe we've proven with an overwhelming amount of evidence that agreement exists. But this is new behavior. The town has backed out of its commitments before, even retracting job offers in the past while claiming it was in the name of transparency. They demanded transparency from everyone else, but refused to hold themselves to the same standard. But its latest step, this one's dangerous. After the union provided multiple notices reminding the town of its obligations under Florida Statute Chapter 447, and after we stated that continued noncompliance would leave us no choice but to file an unfair labor practice complaint, the town responded with a written threat. Their letter states, as to any meritless, unfair labor practices claims filed by the union against the town will seek full reimbursement for all litigation, reasonable attorney's fees, expert witness fees, and costs incurred by the town. Let me be clear about what that means. The town attempted to threaten financial retaliation for exercising its protected statutory right. That is not negotiation, that isn't leadership, that isn't what Closer to What Matters stands for. That's coercion. And that is a violation of Florida law. Under Statute 447, Section 1, Subsection A, a public employer cannot interfere with or coerce employees for exercising protected rights. They cannot retaliate against an employee organization, and they must bargain in good faith, not threaten punishment when the union calls out bad faith behavior. This letter by itself is a violation of Florida law. We have a town manager on record confirming a tentative agreement which has been certified by the town clerk. We have certified minutes and documents of offers provided on town letterhead substantiating our claims. And now we have written threats designed to silence oversight and scare firefighters away from lawful action. Organizations acting in good faith don't resort to intimidation. They don't rewrite history, they don't pretend their own words and recordings don't exist, and they certainly don't blame the union when their bargaining teams collapse for the 3rd time, and now a 4th team must start from scratch. Yet through all this, our overtime hours climb into the thousands. Our pay and benefit fall behind every neighboring department. Fatigue, burnout, and sleepless nights away from our families continue to grow. And still your firefighters show up. We still climb on the trucks, we still answer every call, we still protect the town with everything we have, but we will not be intimidated, we will not be coerced, and we will not stop fighting for fair treatment and a contract that honors what we do. The town believes threatening firefighters is a solution, and they have told this entire community everything there is to know about why we stand here after 426 days without a contract. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Town Attorney?
To the mayor, to the council, obviously appreciate the comments from the public, and those are always welcome. My only response, just so that you know, was town council. Chapter 447 spells out a process to resolve any sort of issues with collective bargaining, and I would probably urge the town council as well as the union president to consider utilizing those options, one of which is to come and appoint a mediator or a special magistrate to help the parties resolve these issues. So that's the only comment that I would make in addition to the statements about the town being in violation. We would obviously disagree with.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Madison Hilt.
Madison Hilt, 2272 Orange Avenue. Two things. First, I was not aware of the union proceedings that were going on their face, but now that I'm hearing about them, I can recall hearing some talk about everything there. Firefighters work, I would venture to say, harder than most people do in their jobs in their day-to-day. I was a volunteer firefighter for Clay County for 6 years, I got a little taste of what that was like. 427 days without a union agreement, without a contract, is on its face ridiculous. Somebody should have invoked something out of 447 already. I don't know if this is a stalling tactic on behalf of some town staff that might not be here anymore. I don't know what's going on, but in a world where a $100,000 a year salary can't even pay for a family of four to sustainably live a middle-class lifestyle, and I mean, we're already not paying our firefighters half of that. Like, it's about time to come off the pocketbook, y'all. Second thing, Orange Avenue, since we had our stop sign moved from the corner of Orange and Grace to the crosswalk at Marcel and Orange, we have had a marked increase in people blowing through that intersection. Even with the nice flashing lights that Mr. Hoshi so graciously has provided there, especially at night, people are ignoring it. Without that stop sign there, back where it was, it's giving people a longer stretch to go, and I have put up a camera that can detect speed, and I've caught people going 45 miles an hour through that intersection at night, and it's a road that's a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. I've asked quite a few times for y'all to come out and do some other kind of traffic studies, traffic calming, something like that, and so far nothing has been done other than the flashing stop signs, and there was a speed box up there for a little while, but it was while Moody was closed down by the Y. So we weren't getting as much traffic down Orange Avenue because people knew that they couldn't get to Peoria from Orange. Back when that storm pipe collapsed that the county had to replace down at the other end. So people were taking Doctor's Lake instead, and that's when the speed box was up there. It came down a week before that road reopened. So I think there may be some data missing, and I would really, really respectfully request y'all to come, maybe do a complete streets on Orange Avenue in the section of Moody that we own, because that's a corridor that gets heavily utilized and needs some safety and livability improvements. Thank you.
Got it. Thank you, Maddie. Town manager, if we can look into that. Thank you. Okay, that's all I have for non-agenda. Going to move on to item 6, consent agenda. Do I have a motion approval for item A?
Second.
Got a first and second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. Okay, going to move on to item 7, new business. 7A, second reading, public hearing, approving an ordinance amending the budget for the first time of fiscal year 25-26. Do I have a motion for a second reading by title only of the budget amendment 1 ordinance?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for a second reading by title only of the budget amendment number 1 ordinance.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Town Clerk, please take a roll or take a vote.
Councilman Taylor?
Aye.
Councilman Vogel?
Aye.
Councilman Benefield?
Aye.
Mayor Anderson?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Salem?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Okay, Town Clerk, please read the ordinance by title only.
An ordinance amending ordinance 15-25, which adopted and enacted the final budget of estimated revenues and expenditures and made appropriations for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2025 and ending September 30th, 2026 for the first time during the course of said fiscal year, providing an effective date.
Thank you, Town Clerk. At this time, I'm going to open a public hearing. Public hearing is now open if anyone would like to speak to it. I see no one at this time. I'm going to close the public hearing. Public hearing is now closed. I'm bringing it back to the council.
Mr. Mayor, I have a couple of questions.
Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
If I may. Mr. Town Manager, I assume you may not be able to answer these questions, but Mr. Croce probably can. Am I correct that this action replaces the tank rehab program that was in the CIP? Or is it an addition to? I'll defer to.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, Council, Madam Vice Mayor, yeah, that is correct. We're repurposing the money that was scheduled for tank rehab to improve the system that would be aeration and actually improve the processes for reducing sludge, because we know that's one of the biggest increase in maintenance operations is our sludge removal. So we're looking at options to minimize that, and this is one step forward.
And then what happens to the tank rehab program?
Right, we would repurpose that for the next year.
Okay.
Right.
And then my next question, and I don't know who to ask this question, Mr. Taylor, do we need to make a motion to change the CIP? The description of the CIP, I don't know.
John, I'm sorry, what's the question? What was the question? I mean, obviously, you've approved the CIP, so you're making a change to that. We would need to.
Okay, that's my question.
John Villanueva, Finance Director. Can you repeat your question, Vice Mayor?
I want to know, because the tank rehab program is what we have on the CIP.
Yes.
We're going to move that money to do something else. So do we need to modify by vote the CIP separately?
We typically we do a budget amendment, but the plan was changed when we did when you passed the 2025-26 budget. So that plan will need to be reprinted, reallocated, and we can do it then. But I'm going to defer to the attorney on that one.
So the CIP was a plan that you voted on as a council, and that was a finite plan, correct? Right? Like it was a plan that had listings on there, it had project descriptions, it had dollar amounts. So if you're now changing that plan, yes, you would need to bring that back to the council. And that's something you can do at an earlier date, because I think the Vice Mayor to Mr. Villanueva, there are other changes that we've talked about in the past that we need to update. So you can do all of that, at one time.
Okay, and that's all I wanted to know. I just wanted to know what we need to expect to keep everything straight, because I don't remember. I go back to the CIP and I look. Mr. Croce, and I know what this improvement will do, and I assume it will be less difficult for the tanks, I don't know. But what are the risks or financial risks or negatives regarding delaying the tank rehab program another year? Anything?
They're very minimal. I mean, we still have the program and look toward rehabbing all of the tanks over the next 5 years. But we can continue doing, while we do this program, cleaning tanks and changing the levels, but not recoding. This program would look at, again, reducing the sludge that we have.
Okay, I just want to make sure I understood. Thank you.
Mr. Croce, is this, and I may be confused, this is approval of this budget amendment will execute a work order with Mid-Tower/CTH. Was that the company that changed names and purchase?
That is, and we will not bring a work order to council until that's resolved with the attorney and the town manager. This allocates the money that was for the tank improvements to the aeration, mechanical screening, the sludge, and the piping aeration system.
I've got a quick question for the finance director. Okay, right now we're looking to spend $425,000 because we're moving. Correct me if I'm wrong here. We need to move the money first before we can award this.
That's correct.
Okay, so at this time, we cannot approve this.
The budget
Because-
amendment or the work order?
For this budget amendment, do we need to move the CIP money under an ordinance before we can do this budget amendment? Because that's where the money's coming from.
And again, I've had
Because right now,
conversations with our
we're going to
attorneys.
approve something, we have no funding for it. Till the money is moved in the CIP.
So we're gonna move it in the CIP and the budget, that's what we're saying here.
Right, so through the mayor to the town council. So remember, we have this 5-year CIP plan. That's a plan document that goes out 5 years. But the first year of that plan document is identical to your current budget fiscal year, right? And so, you know, in theory, so one is the budget. That's certainly a necessary action. You gotta get, because that's really where the money is being appropriated from your budget. That's where the money's being appropriated. But again, we've had this discussion, and John is alluding to that in his comments. Your CIP for this year should match the first year of your 5-year CIP projection plan. Okay, so I think you can move forward with this change, but I think it is prudent to update your 5-year plan so that it reflects what the current year is, because the first year of that 5-year plan is your CIP, is what's in your budget. Is that?
I understand what you're saying. My line of thinking is I'm spending $425,000. I know it's in the budget, but it's under another line item.
This is to move the line.
We have to move the line item first.
I thought this is what this does.
This says nothing about the CIP.
I know, that's why I was wondering.
Can I make a comment? So
I just want to make sure legally we can do it.
And that's why I deferred to the attorney, but in the past, when we changed the CIP through a budget amendment, we never amended the CIP. This is something that was brought to our attention when we hired Smith Gambrell. She looked at the code and said, we need to, although it's not really defined in the code, we need to do any amendments the same way we passed the CIP. So now we're talking, we're going to have to do and that's fine, we can do this, a publication for the budget amendment, and then also a 14-day publication for our CIP plan as well, which that hasn't been done. So this is a new process that we haven't practiced in the past. This was brought to my attention this past year. Following her, the attorney's advice, then that's why I'm deferring to her.
Right,
So-
so do you want to?
So legally, we can go ahead and approve this. But we're going to have to follow up on moving the CIP.
Absolutely, right? Because your CIP by statute, it's required in order for you to come up with that plan. You've got to advertise it. You've got to let your public know what's in that plan, because that's a lot of money that's been spent by taxpayer dollars. So that's why the law says you've got to advertise it. You've got to get that public input so that they know what those projects are. And so anytime you change that, right? And so what John is alluding to in your charter, it says you adopt a CIP plan. And it doesn't talk about when you amend that plan, but I've always given the example of adopting a CIP plan and then administratively adding on a $30 million project. I think that would be problematic if I'm in front of the judge trying to say that we met transparency and the public had some notice on that, right? I mean, it's a $30 million change to the plan that they saw. So that's why the necessity is to go back through that re-advertising. And, you know, just to get it right up to speed, you have the Town Policies Committee. We are looking at this issue so that we can completely revamp your CIP process, because in theory, the best practices, these should be running concurrently. When you're changing your budget and CIP projects, that should be matching what's in your first year of your CIP plan. And you are working with the vice mayor and the other members of that committee to fix this process so that it's all running concurrently. But you can move on this budget amendment tonight and then, direct your finance director to update, the CIP. And worst case, if you get public outrage, then you can always come back and amend this in your budget, right, if you wanted to.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have anything?
I have one.
Go ahead, Councilman.
For Mr. Croce, this is the right move, and why? One more time.
Yeah, so this is, we're looking into this process to actually improve the wastewater treatment that we provide and improve the effluent that we ultimately output and minimize the sludge accumulation. So overall, in time, we should see less maintenance costs. It's the goal.
And hauling.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. Centrifugal
You
hauling,
have to
yes.
pay less to haul it.
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, I'm looking for a motion.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 1725.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor. I have a second.
I'll second.
I have a second. Any other discussion? Okay, Town Clerk, please poll the council.
Councilman Vogel?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Sandler?
Aye.
Mayor Anderson?
Aye.
Councilman Benfield?
Aye.
Councilman Taylor?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Okay, we're going to move on to 7B, Johnson Slough roadway and culvert improvement projects update.
Mr. Mayor, Council, Kyle Croce, Public Works Director. I provided a executive summary on the update for the Johnson Slough roadway and culvert improvement project. The project is nearing a critical milestone that we talked about. A full permit submission is being received by mid December is the time frame on that, on or around December 19th. The delay was the request from the Water Management District in some of the requirements because the property was previously privately owned. There wasn't a submerged land lease in the area, so additional title work needed to be done in the project area, basically showing ownership of Nelson Drive and Plainfield, so that we don't build a project and someone comes back and says, well, I own that road. So we had to do that. That was a requirement that the district had communicated to us that was going to be needed by DEP. So we finished that. It's under review now. The owner's representative, the town's representative, Jones Edmonds, has finished review of the 90% plans for the permit submission. And Superior Construction Company has provided a 90% GMP as scheduled for this time in December. They also provided a schedule and timeline for construction. So I believe you have that. The clerk provided that, and the town manager provided that to you, and I can answer any questions.
Well, 1 year ago, we started this. This is where we're at. So, you're saying mid-December we should be ready to go?
No, mid-December, we'll have the permit sent to the St. John's River Water Management District for review and approval to forward on to DEP. They'll have 30 to 60 days for review. We think we have everything because we've been working with them on a weekly basis on all of their comments from the submerged land lease, the surveys, and the design plans. So we don't expect many questions at all. We think construction can start after that, after their final review.
Okay, so you're looking February.
February, March timeframe, yes.
Yes, sir. The only concern I have is this is a matching fund, and can we get either email or something from the grant writer, or I guess it would be the grant provider, would be the state, saying they're going to authorize us this extension, so we don't turn around and have to pay $14 million.
Yeah. Yes, we can get something to you. I think I had an email previously. They didn't want to sign another extension before the 6 months, so we had scheduled a meeting with them in December in order to sign that extension. They like to do 6 months or a year at a time. They're well aware of their requirements. They're requiring for us to do this additional work. So they're aware of that, and that it's taking more time during the grant period, but we already planned on discussing that with them in December.
Okay.
So,
one last question. The last time we looked at costs, and I know we were waiting on a final cost, we were at about $13,500, or excuse me, $13,500,000.
$13,500,000, yes.
Did the prices go up to increase that price, or they just didn't have a good end price?
Yeah, we looked at, one of the big things we looked at was the construction of the subsurface and the condition that it's right now, and a lot of it is the reason why it's flooding a lot of settlements. So there's a lot of organic materials down there. But we will also, we have a meeting with the owner's representative, with Jones Edmonds, to go over these line by line and get some continuity and resolution on the numbers.
Okay. That's all I have. Anybody have anything else?
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Councilman Duncan.
Mr. Croce, thank you. It's nice to see something line item. My concern is it was put in the agenda yesterday. Did we just get it?
We did.
Okay. The date on the document is 11/21.
Yeah.
Maybe that's when they produced it, when
Yeah.
they printed it?
Yes.
Okay. But I guess you're not looking for action tonight. There's nothing to do.
This is just the summary update.
We're just finally seeing numbers.
Yes, sir.
And is this 14 million number, does it cut out Nelson is the small one?
Carnes.
Carnes is the one that will be a walkway.
We would not do a bridge or a culvert at Carnes. It would be an open channel, and we would restore it back to that open channel flow through that area.
Back to original.
But
back to 1800s.
But we would still have to maintain that access through construction of the other road through Nelson Drive because of the residents that are on the south side. So they would need access for a while until Nelson Drive South was complete.
Okay. But this is a guaranteed, the document we're looking at is the guaranteed maximum price. 90% of the guaranteed maximum price. So you're really looking at, I'm not good at math. That's a joke. 14 million times, what, 1.1? Or divided by 0.9? 15.5? And we were at 13.5? We're looking at 2 million over what we had thought about. That's all I've got.
Anybody else have anything? Go ahead, Town Manager.
So, given, obviously, I got here yesterday sorry, I'm used to a smaller council change. My apologies. So obviously, I got here yesterday, and I've been in communication with staff, and Director Croce was able to fulfill some of my requests about some documents, so I could start looking at the process. And something that has kind of permeated in my thought process was, given the scope of the project, given the delays that we've had, I would like the council to consider the possibility to allow me to examine a little bit more in depth the scope of the project to see if maybe we need a construction management firm to help assist with the situation. Not saying that we do, not saying that it's something that we have to do, but given that we only have the one meeting in December and the time-sensitive nature of this, I'd request if possible, if council would permit, the ability to do the research, to analyze with Director Coaching and with Director Villanueva to see if this is something that we should consider a project manager for, just given the sensitivity and the amount of volume of money, as well as the workload that Public Works and everyone else has, it might be something to consider. But I would need the authority to then do that research and to put together a formal RFP so that you guys could consider it in the first meeting in January, so that we could then put it out and assist if that's what the information, the data determines that we need. Again, not saying that we do, but what that will assist with from a broad scope is control of cost. Obviously, that's a big deal if we're already looking at an estimated $2 million over potentially. The complexity of the local conditions, that project manager, that construction manager will help facilitate a lot of those schedule keeping, budget keeping, all of those. Given those situations that, again, not impeding staff situation or capabilities, just allowing with the amount of work that we already have and the number of projects we have, something to analyze if the council would permit. I would just need a motion that would allow for that. Again, not committing us to it, not committing us to that process, but just giving me the ability, if we determine over the next couple of weeks that, hey, this is something we probably should consider and put an RFP together, that allows me to move forward. And then bring it to the first council meeting for you guys to review the RFP and so forth.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion then.
I want to, before we do a motion, does any council member have a question for the town manager on that?
I do.
Go ahead.
The goal would be to pay more money to have somebody manage the project so that you reduce the overall cost.
Potentially, that would be the idea. Again, if it's not financially feasible, if it's not in any way, shape, or form going to be more beneficial to us, then we wouldn't move forward. It just allows me to examine it much more in depth, as well as to, if that's determination and it again makes financial sense, that we could then put together the RFP for you to review and then put that in the public from there. But this only, because I don't have the authority without that motion, and given the shortness of the second meeting not being in December, that's the only reason that I would be asking for it in this type of situation.
I guess my one request would be, if we did move forward, I'd like that management firm to produce something that says, this is what we cost and this is what we think.
Yeah, I'm in complete
potential savings would look like, or
yeah, it would make sense.
Even if it comes down to your labor time,
yeah,
men on job sites.
Sure. Yeah, and it has to make sense from all angles, and that means that if it doesn't reduce our ability to control costs and stuff, then it definitely wouldn't be something that you would want to proceed with. But just again, allowing you to look a little bit more into it before we get full going on it would be the request.
I have a different question. If I can deal with that. So, if I understand correctly, so we were like 13.8 max or whatever before. Now we're looking at 14. In my mind, it was 13.8 total cost. 13.5 total cost. Now we're at 14.1.
We're at 15.5.
I'll get the, yeah, we're 15.1 here, and then plus the other 10% puts it at 15.5. And then I'm looking here on page 202 under the notes. You want to look at that with me, please, Kyle? The last line item, a 10% owner's contingency. So does that mean 55 plus another 10%? Is that what I'm reading for that to say? That's how I read it. That's another $1.5 million.
Yeah, the way I read it was included, but I'd have to look at that again.
So I object to the program. I mean, here's where I stand. I'm at 13.5 million. I'm not at 14. I'm not at 15.5. I'm not at 16. I'm not at 17. So where I am is edit the program, drop another section of it, or come up with another plan. So I hope these estimates, at least for my vote, are going to include those alternatives, and we're not coming back and saying, I mean, where I thought we were politely was by September, October, we were gonna have all this and we were making decisions then. Now we're in January. So hopefully they can, in their calculations, I don't have all my notes from where we looked at all the alternatives and where we were skimming the cap, but I am a no at 17 million, or whatever that's worth to whoever cares.
Mr. Mayor, two questions, one for each of them. I guess I'll start here with Mr. Taylor. The verbiage was firm. Are you looking for firm or are you looking for allocation?
As far as the request to go to the RFP, if we go to the determination that there is the cost savings factor there, that it allows me to then put together the RFP for you guys to consider in that aspect. So I don't necessarily need an application right now as far as that goes, and I'll defer from a language standpoint if that's correct. But it's again not allocating any aspect of money at this point in time in any way, shape, or form.
I understand the fact finding and kind of.
Yep, that's it.
And so I just didn't know. It ultimately would make sense to have that allocation. The second question from Mr. Croce. I do see the date of November on here, as Councilman Dunfield pointed out. Your construction schedule, I would imagine, is this worst case scenario starting in April?
Yes.
So how long will they hold that? How long will they hold that GMP Superior? Because that could be potentially 5 months.
Yeah. I think they want to be conservative on this GMP at 90% because of typically in the past, without having a permit in hand and not knowing if there are any requirements from St. John's River Water Management District or DEP to do additional work, they're more reluctant. So I see this as a conservative estimate. We also need Jones Edmonds to go through the line items and make sure that it's that they have comparable costs as well. But I feel that since we've been working with St. John's and the DEP requirements, we feel that there's very little that'll be surprise for the town as far as what comes back on their comments or additional work that we need to do. We'll get more information this week with Jones Edmonds, and again, once we have the permit in hand, that gives them direction that there aren't any surprises or aren't any additional work that's going to be directed by DEP or the district. We'll have a firmer number.
Yeah, I mean, and so me, I see the number, and yes, it is what it is, but there's still things that need to be solidified. What sticks out to me is the schedule under the notes, and you guys did do your due diligence of doing a long-term projection. So best case scenario, yeah, maybe we're breaking ground in February. Worst case, we're in April. And to everyone's point, that could change numbers in 5 months as well. So that's what I saw.
Okay, basically, the town manager is asking us to let him go do some research and possibly get an RFP together to see what it would cost to have I don't know what you want to call him, a production manager or what, but a what? Okay. It's not going to hurt anything. It's not going to cost us anything. I think the support is there, at least from me. So, again, we're going to need a motion to move forward with this.
I'll make that motion to authorizing the town manager to explore or issue a competitive solicitation and/or issue for a project manager or a construction manager to assist the town with the Johnson Slough Culvert project. This recommend that it be subject to the town council's approval of contract award and/or funding as required pursuant to the town's codes and policies.
I'll second that.
Okay, I've got a first and a second. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, please take a poll.
Councilman Taylor?
Aye.
Councilman Benfield?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Scanlon?
Aye.
Councilman Vogel?
Aye.
Mayor Anderson?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you, Town Clerk. We're going to move on to item 7C, approval of meeting barrier purchase. Go ahead, Town Manager.
So there's a couple items of, that are on here for approval in consecutive order, but I've asked for that we consider a motion to move this to the next meeting, just so that I have a little bit more time to review some of the particulars of the meridian barriers and as well as the flat cameras, so that all of our I's are dotted and T's are crossed. I've spoken with Chief and Chief Cases agreed to give us a little bit more time because they're not an emergency-based situation. I just want to know that the allocation and the way that we're paying for them in LN is on the up and up. And I know that's a little abundance of caution on my end, but being that they're not an emergency situation, and that I've requested from the Chief for his approval in that aspect. So rather than have the immediate approval, I would ask for a motion to move this to the next meeting for further review.
Okay. All right, I'm looking for a motion to postpone.
I'll make that motion, Mayor. I'd like to postpone items 7C.
Actually, we're just going to do C.
7C.
Yeah, at a time. We're going to do one at a time.
7C to the next meeting, which is scheduled on January 6th, 2026.
Second.
Motion on the floor. I got a second. Any discussion? Okay, Town Clerk, poll the council.
Mayor Anderson?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Scanlon?
Aye.
Councilman Vogel?
Aye.
Councilman Benfield?
Aye.
Councilman Taylor?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Okay, I do have a couple speaker cards. Mr. Copeland on 7D, approval of flat cameras. Yes.
Good evening. Persistent and wholesale surveillance of the common citizen. This is the desire of every authoritarian state to know every citizen's position, past and present, and to reliably anticipate where every citizen will be next. Every citizen should be concerned when the state has such elevated awareness, because all the components for a Stalinesque framework of fear, disappearances, and labor camps will be in place. The last obstacle would be hope. Hope that our leaders will not abuse information heretofore not public business. We are to believe that substituting the burdens of probable cause in obtaining a warrant with hope in our well-placed public officials will make our community safe. Councilman, moving forward with this mass surveillance network will mean no citizen is safe and will place each of you on the wrong side of history in perpetuity as deniers of our Fourth Amendment guarantees. End this madness tonight and affirm the Constitution you swore to uphold. Do not revisit this next month. End it now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Copeland. Matty Hill.
Madison Hill, 2272 Orange Avenue. I'm going to start off here by saying that I have some actual professional experience with these cameras. In my role as the network administrator for Clay County Board of County Commissioners, I was in charge of overseeing the initial phase of rollouts in the county of license plate reader technology. This was before Flock existed as a company, but the concept is very similar. What I saw before I left that position, because I left shortly after, this being one of the reasons, was a frightening system of surveillance. The sales rep pulled up his computer and showed me everywhere I had been across the state of Florida for 7 years. Everywhere on a major road that I had been. This was just by typing in my name. Flock goes even further than that. Flock is a magic box. It's proprietary trade technology. It's cloaked in that buzzword terms. It's CJIS compliant. Check a box. We're going to be compliant with Florida public record laws. Check a box. But how can they be compliant with our public record laws and every other state's that are vastly different from ours when they do not silo their data? They do not say these are cameras from Florida, they're staying in the Florida pot. The Flock network of cameras is accessible to any law enforcement agency that signs onto them. Somebody in the state of Washington can type my name into a computer and find out everywhere in the network of cameras that I have been. We have no guarantees. This is a company that has lobbied with millions of dollars to get their cameras into, and I quote, every single community and police department in the United States. Not many things as far as technology scare me because this was my bread and butter before I went into being clergy. This terrifies me. This is 1984 level stuff. The federal government is in the process right now of implementing technology by Palantir, which is an AI company that collects every imaginable bit of data on you and makes it available to the feds to pull. Flock has partnered with them. 99.5% of Flock camera hits do not generate any kind of police activity, but they get logged in a database. They're gone from Flock's database, who's to say somebody else that's connected to Flock doesn't pull them into theirs. We already have other states that public record laws have said these images captured by these cameras are public record. I've read statements from other Florida lawmakers and attorneys that have said it's not public record in Florida for now. In my experience, cameras facing public streets in the state of Florida over time have been eroded to the point where they are public record. It's not very often that I get to speak on a topic that I have such an intimate knowledge of, but this is one of them. Some other concerning things about Flock. There's a platform that monitors where the cameras are because so many towns have had people cry out against them and say, please don't put this in our neighborhood because we don't want to be searched unconstitutionally. And that site got a cease and desist from Flock saying, we don't want people knowing where our cameras are. They have something called Flock Nova, which is a new platform that they're starting to roll out. Oh, by the way, it's free of cost if you already pay the $18,000 a year, whatever they want. That is going to pull every single bit of commercially available data on a person and tie it to their license plate. So they can type in my name, and they can get my Facebook history, they can get my publicly available phone numbers, and this is all without a warrant. I want to let that sink in for a second. We have police accountability for a reason. Because I don't trust Joe Schmuckatelli that works for Bradford County Sheriff's Office that has interconnection with our network to not have a personal vendetta against me or somebody else and type that in and now know every single thing about somebody and be able to fabricate evidence against them. They also can tag a vehicle based on appearance, not just based on license plate. So it doesn't have any proven efficacy. It's just proven that it can pull data and generate more stops and arrests. I would also say just one last thing. If you do decide to go through with this, there is contract language that you can put in that will prevent a lot of these things from happening. The ACLU has drafted contract language on it. Please look into it. Don't just approve this boilerplate today because our data is going to go everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Maddie. Okay, at this time, I'm going to turn it over to the town manager.
Again, my request is that we motion to move this to January 6th so that I can do further review and in that aspect. Just again to make sure that everything is as it needs to be from a legal standpoint and so on and so forth. So again, would be I spoke with Chief Case and he's in agreement that this is an emergency situation right now. So I would just like to move it to the 6th so that we can get the proper verbiage and review of the entire situation.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Do I have a motion to postpone?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to defer to the January 6th town council meeting.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I agree with the town manager. I think it's an excellent suggestion to look at the legal aspects of this whole law thing. And I have to say, I agree with Mr. Kaufman. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And I don't like that kind of accumulation of debt from the government. So that's okay. I don't care if we defer it. I'm not liking it more.
That's all. Got it. Thank you. Anyone else? Town clerk, for the council.
Councilman Benfield?
Aye.
Councilman Taylor?
Aye.
Councilman Vogel?
Aye.
Mayor Anderson?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Stanley? Passes 5-0.
Okay, going to move on to item 7E, request for approval of part-time accreditation coordinator position, acceptance of related grant funding. And Chief, are you going to take that, or is it town manager?
Yep, I'll defer to the Chief for explanation.
Got it. It's all yours, Chief.
Okay, I didn't know if anyone had specific questions or, last year we applied for this grant. We did not get it. We applied again this year. We were able to get the grant, and the grant is for an accreditation coordinator. That would be a part-time job, approximately 20 hours a week for 2 years, to get our department back and get us accredited. And the main thing that I see that this opportunity provides our department and the town is a verification that our policies and procedures are being followed by the Florida Accreditation Commission through inspection. That improves citizen satisfaction and citizen agreement with our department. The other thing is you have officers that would, I think it would improve their morale, knowing that our agency has been tested and reviewed and approved by this commission. It's, I remember when we were accredited before, our previous chief here, Chief Goebel, he was a patrol sergeant, and I don't know how many hours or time he put into it, but every time I went in the squad room, he was in there working on it. So it takes a good investment to get it done, and then once it's done, it has to be maintained. And our department wasn't able to keep it maintained at the time, so we lost our accreditation. I remember going down the town compound and scraping the decal off of our car, and I was like, can I have the decal? I'm going to keep it on a bin I kept in my trunk. So additional things tie into accreditation. If we are following our policies and we're following our procedures, our policies are created to help us reduce liabilities. So it's almost a check and a balance to make sure we're doing what we say and we're saying what we do. And if that's happening, if we were to have a critical incident with our department, we can go through and verify. We've already done these things, so it helps reduce liability. One other thing I'd like to add in is Assistant Chief Monroe and I were discussing this earlier today. There are some grants that you may want to apply for as a police department, and if you're not accredited, you're not eligible to even apply for. So I think there are a lot of good reasons for us to try to get this accomplished. And I'm asking for you all to make that approval, and then we would have to designate some people to manage the grant to basically accept a grant for the town and have an administrator.
Okay, thank you, Chief. I got a quick question for you. First of all, I think it's a great idea. But my question is, if we hire a part-time individual, are we gonna have to pay medical, are we gonna pay all the benefit package?
And my objective of this was no benefits, it's a part-time job.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Anybody have any questions for the police chief? Go ahead. Thank you.
After 2 years, what happens to that individual's job?
My goal would be to get us accredited within that 2-year period, and then we would have to either assign a supervisor to maintain the accreditation, or we could consider bringing on or keeping a person part-time to do that. I think once the accreditation is accomplished, the amount of hours that might be invested every 2 weeks or every week would be greatly reduced.
But we weren't able to maintain our accreditation before, so I'm a little worried that we won't be able to do that again. Because I think it's a wonderful idea. I agree with you.
Yes, ma'am.
That it's important. I just am concerned about how we move forward in trying to pay for it.
I understand that.
That's all.
Okay.
Anything else? Any questions? Chief, I have one more.
Yes, sir.
For some reason, if we do not get accredited in this 2 years, we have to pay the money back or anything?
I can verify that, but I don't believe that's the circumstance. I believe this is a Department of Justice community-oriented policing grant, which accreditation ties into community policing. And I don't believe there's a end game that says if you don't accomplish it, you have to, if you don't accomplish this, you have to pay it back. But I can verify that, sir.
Okay. I have no other questions. So I guess I'm looking for a motion.
Well, I do know that your question prompted, should 2 years be plenty of time to make this happen? To make us, to get to do what needs to be done to get this award?
I have not done this before myself, but I believe it would be, ma'am.
Okay, your former boss is going, yes.
It was just always in the squadron working.
I
Never on
know.
patrol doing for police work, you know.
That's police work, that's what
But
you're telling us.
it is. He got us accredited. I was very happy and proud of it.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Taylor, do we have a
Estimated budget on what this part-time position would cost?
Yes, sir. So we looked through some other salaries for accreditation managers and accreditation coordinators, and we came up with a 20-hour-a-week schedule, and it would be about $44 an hour is what we would pay somebody to do this job.
What would be the thousand?
It's about $45,000 a year. Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion, Mayor, to, do I need to make all these?
Yeah, read it all as one.
Okay. Am I going to have a seat?
Okay, sir.
A motion to approve it, accept a grant from the Office of Community-Oriented Policing Services, United States, the DOJ, in the amount of $111,120 for a part-time accreditation coordinator position in the police department, and also authorizing the mayor, town manager, or designee to execute any grant documents, including but not limited to agreements, affidavits, and certifications as required by the DOJ to obtain the grant.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor.
Second.
Okay, I have first and second. Any other discussion? Stevens, town clerk, hold the council.
Mayor Anderson?
Aye.
Councilman Vogel?
Aye.
Councilman Taylor?
Aye.
Councilman Benfield?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Snell?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Okay, we're going to move on to item 7F, reappointment of members to the police pension board, and then I will turn that over to the town manager.
My apologies. As you know, the council is responsible for appointing 2 members to serve on the board, while the pension membership appoints 2 members as well. The fifth member is appointed jointly with the 4 members of the board. Mr. Chuck Smithers currently serves as a council appointee. His term will expire January 1st, 2026. However, he would like to serve another term. This term would be from January 1st, 2026 to January 1st, 2030.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for the town manager? Okay. I'm looking for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to reappoint Chuck Smithers to the Police Pension Board.
Okay, do I have a second? I have a first and second. Any discussion? I see none. Town clerk, please poll the council.
Vice Mayor Scanlon?
Aye.
Councilman Taylor?
Aye.
Councilman Vogel?
Aye.
Councilman Benfield?
Aye.
Mayor Anderson?
Aye. Move on to 7G, authorization to reappoint a joint fire pension trustee. And again, I will turn it over to the town manager.
Obviously, a similar situation with the fire pension board. So, again, council is responsible for appointing 2 members, and the membership appoints 2 members as well. And then the final, the 5th member is appointed by the 4 members of the board. The board voted November 13th to reappoint Mr. Tracy Connell as the 5th member. Council is being asked to, by the board to ratify this appointment. His term goes from 1/1/2026 to 1/1/2028.
Okay, do you have any questions for the town manager? Okay, do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to ratify the appointment of Tracy Connell as the joint trustee of the firefighters pension board.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor.
Second.
Okay, I have a first and a second. Any discussion? I see none. Town clerk, please poll the council.
Councilman Vogel?
Aye.
Councilman Taylor?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Scanlon?
Aye.
Councilman Benfield?
Aye.
Mayor Anderson?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Okay, we're going to move on to item 7H, appointment of member to seat 2 of Planning and Zoning Board, and I'll turn it over to the vice mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Michelle Hale held seat 2 on the Planning and Zoning Board until November 13th when she submitted her resignation. I recommend the appointment of Mr. Paul Bennett to fill the remainder of the term for seat 2 on the Planning and Zoning Board. You have his application attached. He is a resident of the town, and he is a planner for the Clay County School District. And so he spends a great deal of time already in his work researching and working with planning and zoning constraints. So I think he'll be a valued asset to the Planning and Zoning Board. So I make a motion to approve the appointment of Mr. Paul Bennett to the Planning and Zoning Board for seat 2.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, I have a first and second. Any discussion? See none. Town clerk, poll the council.
Mayor Anderson?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Scanlon?
Aye.
Councilman Benfield?
Aye.
Councilman Taylor?
Aye.
Councilman Vogel?
We'll move on to item 7I, Clay County Utility Authority interlocal agreement.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Again, in my current arrival in that aspect, I conferred with Director Croce on this, and this is another item that I would like to move to the next meeting just for further review from both legal and from a financial cost factor, just to make sure that it's an agreement that has been around long-standing since 2009. I conferred with Director Croce that lack of action today and moving it to the 6th is not going to impede any of our current operations or current situations, but allows, again, just, and I ask for your forgiveness, just obviously that I've been here for a day, but just want to make sure that the agreement serves both the city and the county effectively and equally, if you will. And just again, asking for some time to review it a little bit more in depth before this and legal in that aspect. So I would ask to move that to the January 6th meeting.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Do I have a motion to postpone?
Yes, Mayor, I make a motion to move item 7I, the Clay County Utility Authority interlocal agreement, to the January 6th town council meeting.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? None. Town clerk, poll the council.
Councilman Vogel?
Aye.
Councilman Benfield?
Aye.
Councilman Taylor?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Scanlon?
Aye.
Mayor Anderson?
Aye. Okay, we're gonna move on to item 7J, recommendation of the Selection Advisory Committee, Orange Park Sports, Recreation, Parks, and Infrastructure Services. And I'll turn that over to the town manager also.
Again, this is an item that I'd like to postpone on an indefinite situation, just so that we can review the complexity of the potential project in that aspect, so that we can do quite a bit more due diligence with respect to the amount of work that's been done. I just want to make sure, given the size of the project, or the potential project, I should say, it's not a project that's approved or in that manner. It's just reviewing the documents that have been proposed, and I again conferred with Director Kirchie, and again had the same conversation. Just that, we need some time to analyze this. This is a substantial potential investment, and just want to make sure that we're capable and able to look at it long term in that aspect. I do not have a time when I will put it back, but again, I would just ask for a motion to suspend this from in an indefinite period for right now, until we can bring it back at another time if that's what we decide to do.
Okay, do I have a motion to postpone?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to suspend item 7I.
J.
7J.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, town clerk, hold the council.
Councilman Benfield?
Aye.
Councilman Taylor?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Salem?
Aye.
Mayor Anderson?
Aye.
Councilman Vogel?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
We're gonna move on to 7K, report from Culture and Recreation Committee. Item 1, approval of premise agreement with Walker Consulting, and I'll turn it over to the Vice Mayor.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Culture and Recreation Committee met on November 5th. We discussed a number of actions, specifically where I believe we need to take action tonight has to do with the user agreement, the facility user agreement with Walker Consulting, and the committee recommended approval of the user agreement with minor edits, and also with K9 Head Start School, and the committee has once again recommended that both of these be well, I guess K9 Head Start remained on hold until they had some legal work to clean up that I'm not sure that's been done yet. With their name. But we do recommend the approval and by the council of the Walker Consulting LLC. And so I hope that the council will agree to take action on that. They've met the consulting firm has met all of our needs. You may recall that this group is this consulting firm, and Ms. Walker is here tonight. If we have any questions, but they're going to use our parking lot over here on Smith Street by appointment only to install properly infant seats and to help people make sure that they're safe in their cars, that they're sitting in the right location at the right height, their seatbelts fit properly, and all of this. She has a grant to do all this. There will be no charge for her services. She just wanted to be able to use our parking lot on a basis to have a place to do this safely. So, anyway, any questions?
Do you have any questions for the Vice Mayor?
Her premise use agreement is attached in her packet.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the premises use agreement with Walker Consulting LLC for authorized use of the Milwaukee Avenue Municipal Parking Lot pending final review by the town attorney.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor.
Second.
Any discussion? Town clerk, hold the council.
Vice Mayor Salem?
Aye.
Mayor Anderson?
Aye.
Councilman Vogel?
Aye.
Councilman Benfield?
Aye.
Councilman Taylor?
Aye.
5-0.
Okay, we're gonna move on to item 8, reports, comments, town manager.
Number one, I just wanted to say thank you. As the first council meeting is always kind of a nerve-wracking one for our position as we get there. I need to specifically thank staff for your gracious acceptance and welcoming me into the town. I greatly look forward to multiple years moving forward of great teamwork and doing what we can do and continuing to make the town of Orange Park one of the best places to live in not only the state but also the country. Obviously, it was enough to move me from the middle of the country and my family, and it has been extremely a very warm welcome, and I thank you immensely between council as well. Thank you for the opportunity. As we move forward, I hope to gain additional trust and look forward to interacting with the public, working very close with staff to move the town forward and to continue to make this a wonderful place to live. Other than that, if anyone ever needs anything, my office is always open from the general public to the staff, as well as council members and so forth. So, again, thank you very much, and I look forward to the longevity that we have here.
Thank you, Town Manager. Okay, Town Attorney report.
So welcome to our town manager. Only thing I have tonight is just a reminder. I'm sure you don't need it because our amazing clerk probably has this all covered, but just to remind you, we're coming up on the end of the calendar year, and by Florida statutes, there is this ethics requirement. You probably got it when you went to training for legal cities, but if some of you didn't do that, then get with our amazing town clerk so that you can get those tapes in before December 31st, or else there are penalties involved.
That's it. Got it. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to council member reports. I will kick it off. First of all, I'd like to welcome Mr. Taylor to the town of Orange Park. You will enjoy it here. It's a great place to live.
It's been a great 2 days.
Yes. I just want to give some announcements. December 12th, Coco's and Carols from 5 to 9 is down behind the dog track. On the 13th, December 13th, we have Reefs Across America. And that's at 11:45 at the Magnolia Cemetery. Also, on the 13th, December 13th, 14th, we got Hometown Holidays at the Clark House from 5 to 9 p.m. Don't forget December 7th, the Arthur Gilbert, who was on the USS Arizona. That will be at 2 p.m. at Magnolia Cemetery. Encourage everyone to attend. Also on December 7th, we have e-bike safety training from 10 to 11:30. Be here at the Town Hall Park / Chambers. And we also have active shooter training from 1 to 3 p.m. on December 7th here in the Chambers. Again, thank everybody for attending tonight. Have a happy holidays, and I will turn it over to the Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, thank all of you for coming out tonight. First, to our annual lighting of Town Hall Park festivities, and then, of course, for coming to the council meeting tonight. And for those of you who are watching online, thank you for staying with us and for being a part of it. There were several people at our lighting of Town Hall Park that were going to go home and get comfortable and watch. And that's what they tell me they always do. I echo my welcome to you, Mr. Taylor, to the Orange Park family. And I'm looking forward to working with you as you and the entire staff and the council continue to work together for the betterment of our community. I'm not going to repeat all of the announcements the mayor just made because I had all those in my notes to mention tonight also. I will just add to what he said that all the events he mentioned are events that children of all ages, from infants to very mature adults, can participate in and enjoy and be a part of. And I hope that everybody will take some time and attend as many of these events as you can. Cocos and carols is children singing. You can't not love children singing and performing. Our December 7th event that is going to honor someone who survived Pearl Harbor and is laid to rest in our cemetery. It's such a privilege to be able to be a part of it. Those are two ends of the spectrum in our hometown holidays. It's the same thing. You cannot help but enjoy children loving and looking at Christmas. So I hope everybody will come and participate. This is what all of this is for. Lastly, my family and I celebrate Christmas, so I want to wish each of you and your entire family a very Merry Christmas. And I want to say Happy New Year because I won't see many of you till next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilman Vogel?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to reflect really quickly on tonight. To me, that's what the town of Orange Park was. I mean, we could go from a festive opportunity to celebrate with songs and kids and lighting of the Christmas tree to support for our fellow colleagues. And I mean, whatever the situation is, whatever the myriad of opportunities, at the end of the day, the town rallies together and we support each other. And so I do want to say thank you for everyone that was here. I'm always listening to great comments that come up here. Insightful, makes you think, makes you stop and think twice. We have a lot of events going on. Mr. Taylor, welcome. Don't mess it up.
I'm done yet.
But look, to me, it's a very special time of the year. You're going to spend with time, friends, family. It is a happy holidays. It is a Merry Christmas. It is a Happy New Year. But I do reflect on first responders, police, fire. We're spending time with our families, and they are serving the call. And so we did hear some comments tonight, but it doesn't go unnoticed and doesn't go unrecognized. And so we know what you guys and gals do. And so I just want to say, as we celebrate it, you guys celebrate it as well. And sometimes it's on a different day because the call to serve takes priority. And so I understand that. And wishing our first responders a very Merry Christmas this year. So that's what I have.
Thank you. Councilman Taylor. Second Councilman Robles' comments about the whole community and really the Vice Mayor too. As far as this is what Orange Park is, and I think the town manager will love it here. And I look forward to a long relationship with you as well. I wish everybody a Merry Christmas. I do have a kind of a question on this. This might be for Courtney. I have December 19th is the concert on the Green. Is that correct? Is the fire truck? So that's the 12th then. Okay, that's good. So I would encourage everybody to go to the concert on the Green on the 12th and to watch out for the fire truck because it's great fun. I think to me that is Orange Park's premier event right behind the Fall Festival. So it's nothing but the fun. So, and that's all I have, and Merry Christmas.
Councilman Benfield.
To echo Councilman Taylor, the fire truck parade is the biggest hit of the year at my house, and we're typically at the end of the parade, so we get to listen to it coming, and it sounds like it's getting close, and then it goes away. And then it finally comes. Great event, nice reading. This lighting of Town Hall is exciting, followed by promotions and new hires, people that serve us every day and keep our families safe. And what I will say is that I fully support fire. I fully support our fire, police, and public works, and I recognize the service and the the contribution that they make to be away from their families. I will also say that we have a duty to the town to make sure that the fire department is sustainable and the police department is sustainable and that it can be, that we can afford these things. And I think it sometimes becomes a really push-pull of, yes, we want to give everybody everything. We also have to keep the residents in mind. They're the ones paying the bill, and we're right there with you. I'm proud of those guys. That was a great four of them tonight. That's exciting. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. See y'all soon. That's it.
Okay. Town manager?
I did forget one thank you. Lasikia has been our town attorney, obviously, and she does a phenomenal job. She's been particularly attentive in making sure that I have what I need to come into town. So I just wanted to make that public recognition that I'm very appreciative from that standpoint. I know sometimes it may not go unsaid, but I am appreciative again of all staff in that aspect, and I did not mean to leave you out, so I apologize.
Okay, got it. I have a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay.